Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Kelsey, and today I'm going to guide you through a yoga practice that we're doing from a chair. So practicing yoga from a chair is great to do if you are recovering from an injury that makes it a little bit difficult to get up and down off of the ground, or if you don't have the ability to get down on the ground, like if you're in an airport or in any other kind of more social situation, but you want to get your yoga practice in and be a little bit more inconspicuous about it. We are going to do some standing poses today that we're just going to be using the chair as a support. If you don't want to do those and whatever your situation is, or you're not able to do those, it's okay. You can just simply return to your breath. And then at the end of practice, we are going to come down onto our backs and put our legs in the chair. Same thing. If you cannot get on your back, get down on the ground, it's okay. Just stay seated in your chair and you'll do just a seated meditation as your Shavasana. So we're going to begin seated with our feet hip-width distance apart. All four corners of the feet are grounding down. And in your chair, don't sit all the way back into the chair where you have the back support. I want you to sit kind of to the edge of the seat so that you can still use the muscles along your spine, dropping the shoulders back and down. Hands are resting in the lap wherever's comfortable to you. You could have palms down. You could rest the hands on top of each other like this. And then start to softly close your eyes. If you're in public, you could just have a soft gaze down past the tip of the nose, just taking in less of what's going on around you. Let's start with a few breaths. Just noticing how the breath feels this morning, or whatever time of day you're practicing. It's morning here for me. And then taking a few moments to connect with an intention, why you chose to practice today. And then with that intention in mind, start to flutter your eyelids open, beginning our asana practice from here, a few rounds of seated cat and cow. So similar to how we would do cat and cow on hands and knees, hands are going to go over the tops of the knees or the thighs, and then we're going to tilt the tailbone back, pull the ribs through the arms, lift the heart, lift the gaze, reaching the chin towards the ceiling. This is your cow pose. And then exhale, tuck your chin towards your throat, round your spine, pull your navel back, press your back towards the seat of the chair. Next breath in, tilt tailbone back, lift your heart, lift your head, seated cow. Exhale, chin towards your throat, round your spine, scoot pelvis forward, your seated cat. Breathing in for the cow, a few more like this. And out. Move with your breath. One more like this. Inhale, coming to upright once again, back where we started, into some seated side bends. So depending on what kind of chair you're sitting in, if it has an armrest, you could hold on to the armrest. maybe placing your elbow down there. I do not have one, so I'm going to hold on to the seat of the chair and then inhale, reaching that left arm out and up. Take a pause whenever you get the arm right overhead, reaching from the left hip all the way to the left fingertips, and then exhale, take that length over into a side bend. Gaze can stay straight forward if that's more comfortable in your neck, or you could send your gaze up. Keep grounding down through your left sits bone and your left hip, creating all of this awesome space in the left side body. And one more breath in. And then exhale, send that left arm out and down. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So again, if you have an armrest, you could lean onto that armrest for support, or like me, just holding on to the seat of the chair on the left side. Inhale, the right arm goes out and up. And exhale, take it over into that side bend. Breathing into your right side body. Feeling the right side hip ground down. Reaching out through the right fingertips, all of this length. Next breath in, coming up. Arm goes out and down as you exhale. Alrighty, from here, we're going to do just a little bit of work for the core in some free twists. So a lot of the times in twists, we are using the arms to give us a little bit of support, but that can turn into using the arms to kind of crank us into that position. So we're going to begin by using the muscles in the abdomen to find the twist first. It might not be a very deep twist, and you're really going to feel your core working, and then we're going to turn it into a supported twist. So you're going to bring your arms out into a T shape, palms face down, and your hands and your arms are shoulder height. And then thinking about keeping your wrists, your torso, your shoulders, and the opposite wrist in the same plane of alignment. We're going to inhale here, lengthen up through the spine. And then as you exhale, keeping your hips grounded, start to twist towards the right. So again, I don't want you to pull your left arm more forward and your right arm back to kind of emulate the twist. I want you to really have this come from your midline. And just breathing. Every exhale, lower abdominals drawing in, feeling the rib cage turning to face towards the right a little bit more. Another breath in. And then exhale, release back to center. We're going to do the same thing on the other side before we go into the supported twist. So keeping the arms as they are. Start to turn using the muscles in the waist and in the core. Obliques, abs, and of course the breath is helping us. Using the exhale to really draw the navel back. Inhale, come back to center, and then we're going to take the left hand to the outside of the right thigh. Take your right hand to any part of the chair behind you. Inhale, lengthen up. And then exhale, twist towards the right. Now, since we're using the hands as that support, try to avoid really leaning into them, still strong in the spine, still using those muscles to find the twist. Now we just have a little bit more support. Pull your right hip forward in space, so we're still squaring the hips forward. Maybe you send your gaze back. One more breath in. And then exhale, look forward, release forward. A little wiggle, make sure everything feels okay. Right away to the other side, right hand to the outside of the left thigh, left hand behind you onto the chair wherever's accessible. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, twist towards the left. Still using core muscles to help us twist. We just have a little bit more support with our hands and our arms. through pressing that right hand into the thigh is pressing back, left hip is pulling forward, squaring the hips forward, maybe send your gaze back now. On your next exhale, look forward and release forward. Alrighty, from here, this is where we're going to be doing our standing poses. Standing up tall, I'm going to move my chair. If you're able to move your chair to a different positioning, if you are using a mat, just make sure that the chair is fully on the mat. So we're going to start by practicing a downward dog with our hands in the chair. So start in mountain pose with your feet about a foot away from wherever the chair stops, arms down beside you, standing up nice and tall. Take a moment to feel your feet grounded. If you feel balanced, you could close your eyes here. And then opening your eyes if you had closed them, we're going to place the hands into the chair anywhere that you can grip pretty solidly. So for me, that is the bars of the back of the chair here. And it's just depending on what chair you're using today, you just want to be sure that you can kind of reach and press through the arms a little bit. So if my hands were in the seat of the chair, if I were to push, you can see that they would slide, especially with the blanket that I have here to give me a little bit more cushion. So I'm going to hold on to the bars of the chair, and that also makes sure that my arms are shoulder width distance. And then start to walk your feet back until you're starting to feel the arms are alongside the ears. You're getting a nice stretch and a bit of traction through the spine, but the hips can stay over the ankles. So in downward dog, we're usually trying to kind of create this upside down V shape. In this, I want you to think more so about creating like an upside down L. Ground down through the heels. You can have a little bend in your knees if that feels better. And then spread your shoulder blades apart, reaching through the arms. Head is heavy, almost like you're trying to look towards your navel. And lower abdominals drawing in a little bit. And taking a couple more breaths. Inhale, lifting your head, walking your feet forward. Whoop, my chair kind of bounced a little bit. And then we're going to slowly roll back up into our mountain pose, just standing in front of the chair. Start to let the energy settle. It's a pretty big pose, whether the hands are in the chair or on the ground. And then we'll move into some triangle variations. So you're going to turn to face the longer edge of the mat where your right foot is closer to the chair and your left foot is further away. You have a wide stance here, probably like 2.5 feet or so. And then from here, we're going to turn the right toes to point towards the chair and try to get the right foot kind of parallel to the longer edge of your mat here. Hips are still turning to face towards the left, turning to face towards the long edge of your mat if you're using one here. And then reach the arms out into a T shape like we were doing before. I have a wall behind me, so I'm going to put a bend into this right elbow, but notice that I'm not letting the elbow go beneath my shoulder. If you take this option, depending on how much room you have, I want you to keep the elbow always in line with the shoulder. So take a breath in here. And kind of like we did before, we're just going to be using the muscles along the spine to twist towards the chair. At most, you're going to come to face the chair completely. Breathing. Grounding through both feet. One more breath in. And exhale, turn to face the left side again. From here, let your right hip kick down and the left hip kicks up. So your pelvis is like at an angle going downwards towards the right. Reach forward with your right hand. Feel all of that length in the right side body as you then let your right hand come into the seat of the chair and then reach your left arm straight up into the sky. Think about bringing your left thumb over your left eye or your left ear. And then if it's okay with your neck, you can actually look up towards that left thumb. Reaching through the right arm, not crashing all of our weight into the arm. Find some stability in the shoulders, pulling them away from the neck. Take about 2 or 3 more breaths here. And then we're going to imagine that someone is pulling on our left wrist and they're helping us come all the way back up into that T shape. Hands can come to the waistline for a moment. And just like we were doing before, we're going to twist to face towards the chair, but you might kind of heel toe that left foot in so that the left toes can point towards the front left corner of the mat. It's a little bit easier to square the hips forward as well. And we want that left hip pulling forward as much as it can, right hip drawing back. We're moving into our pyramid pose. Hands staying at the waistline or fists behind the back, pulling the elbows back. Take a breath in. And then exhale, start to lean forward, hinging at the hips. You might not get down very far. You could be kind of at this angle like what I'm doing here. And if it feels okay to be working your legs and your back in this way, you're welcome to stay hovering here. Really connected to core, really reaching out through the crown of the head. This feels really laborious and you're feeling like you can't connect with your breath, that's your sign that you're going to bring your hands into the seat of the chair, using that support to help you lengthen along your spine, almost thinking about a cow pose, lifting the sits bones, reaching through the crown of your head. We're going to be here for several more breaths. And then to make our way to the other side, we're simply going to step the left foot up and then stand back into Tadasana, your mountain pose. Take a pause. Notice how you feel. And then we'll do that again on the other side. So I'm moving my chair to the other side of the mat, just so it's a little bit easier for you to see me. But again, you can just turn to face the opposite way. So standing to face your chair, we'll begin with our downward dog at the chair again. Tadasana first. Grounding through your feet, standing tall through the crown of the head. As you're ready, hands can come into the chair, holding on to the chair with the hands shoulder width distance and making sure that you can press and reach through those arms and nothing's going to slip. Walk your feet back, reaching through the arms all the way. Arms come alongside your ears, feet hip width distance, hips stacked over the heels, reaching the sits bones back. Head is heavy. Breathe. Lower abdominals drawing in, press the shoulder blades apart a little bit. Next breath in, lift your head and start to walk your hands back in. Oops, sorry, I mean your feet. And then standing up, Tadasana, just standing in front of the chair. Let the energy settle. And then we'll move into our triangle Trikonasana variations. So stepping the right foot back this time. Left toes are going to point towards the chair, still parallel that foot to the longer edge of the mat if you're using one. And then right foot is parallel to the shorter edge of the mat. Arms go out into that T shape. Remember that if you have limited room around you and you need to bend the elbows, you're going to keep the elbow in line with the left shoulder. Alrighty, take a breath in here. And then let's exhale to twist towards the left, facing towards the chair. So the hips are kind of staying facing the right a little bit. That right hip might lean forward a bit, but we're still trying to get the torso to face towards the chair. Breathing here. Inhale, come back into center. Reach that left arm long again if you have bent the elbow like I did, and then let the left hip drop down, right hip up. Feel that incline of the pelvis. Hips are still facing to the right. Reach the left arm forward. Feel the length in the left side. Left hand comes to the seat of the chair, and right arm is going to go straight up. Gaze can go up as well. If that's not okay in the neck, just keep your head facing forward. Several more breaths here. Careful not to really crash your weight into your left arm. Stability and ease is what we're looking for. Next, inhale, imagine someone is pulling on your right wrist. They're going to help you come all the way back up into that T shape and then resting your hands at your waistline. We're going to turn again to face towards the chair, just like we did on the first side. You can kind of turn on that right foot so that the toes are pointing to the front right corner of the mat. Squaring the hips forward by pulling your right hip forward in space. Hands stay at the waist, or maybe you take fists to the lower back. Pull your elbows back in whichever variation. Breathe and lift. And then exhale, hinge at your hips and take it forward into your pyramid pose. Again, check out how it feels. Is this a comfortable and safe way for you to be working your hamstrings and your back muscles? If it feels too laborious, hands come into the chair for support, still working on lengthening through your spine, grounding through your feet. Several more breaths here. One more breath in. And then exhale, we'll step the right foot up to meet the left and stand up tall in Tadasana again. Great work. From here, we're coming onto our back. So you can use your hands into the chair, stepping one foot back at a time, lowering the knee down, and then stepping the other knee back. From there, just swing your legs over to one side and take a seat. If you hear jingling, that's turkey. From here, scooting yourself pretty close to the chair, feet grounded as you lower yourself down onto your back. And then once you're here, you can just send your legs into the chair. You might need to kind of inch yourself closer so that there's no undue pressure in the backs of the knees. And if this is uncomfortable for any reason, you can just keep your feet grounded instead. And if you're here with me, let's cross the left ankle over the right thigh, and then use the left hand to press the left knee away from us. So like a reclined pigeon, but we have the right leg in the chair. You could also do this seated if you chose not to lay down at all. If you want a little bit more sensation, you could pull the right leg closer, placing the foot to the edge of the chair, or even holding on to your leg. One more breath in here. Exhale, return your leg to the chair if you had moved your foot to the edge, and then uncross, left leg goes into the chair as well. Let's do that on the other side. Right ankle crosses over the left thigh, right knee drifts away from you. Using the right hand perhaps to put a little bit of pressure there, really opening up the hip. And remember that you can always bring that left leg closer if you want a little bit more sensation here. On your next exhale, let your left leg go back into the chair if you had moved it closer. Right leg follows. And then from here, just taking a brief shavasana, a little bit of rest. If you chose to stay seated, you're welcome to use this time for a short meditation. Allow your breath to settle into its natural rhythm. No need to control or force the breath. And let your body soften into the supports that you have beneath you. You'll hear my voice when it's time to come back. Enjoy this time of rest. Remaining just as you are, start to bring your awareness back to your breath. As you feel ready, start to wiggle your fingers and toes. Maybe nod your head side to side. Let this move into the wrists and the ankles. If you feel like it, you could take a big full body stretch, breathing in to stretch, and breathing out to let it go. And then from here, if you're on your back where I am, let's pull the knees in towards the body. Give ourselves a little hug and rock side to side. And then we'll roll over to one side and meet our friends that perhaps remain seated in the chair. No hurry. You can stay seated on the ground, or if you're more comfortable being in the chair, getting yourself back into the chair. Shoulders relax away from the neck, soften or close your eyes. And just take a moment to acknowledge how you feel. Feel a sense of gratitude for yourself for showing up today. And remind yourself of whatever your intention for practicing was. with your intention in mind, palms together in front of the heart, Anjali Mudra, closing with one chant of Om. Wherever you are, take a deep breath in and exhale to chant Om. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. I hope that this practice has served you well. Please leave me a comment letting me know how it went for you, letting me know maybe what your intention was. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I put out new classes every single Sunday and sometimes a special one thrown in there in the middle of the week just for fun or for special occasions. Okay, with that, I'll leave you here. Thank you again, and I hope we practice together again very soon. Namaste.